they proved to not only us as a fan base, not only to us as Locked On Yankees, they proved to themselves that they can compete in the American League and they can potentially win the American League.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias. He's Brian McKeon. We've been hosting this show together since April 2024. And Brian, the Yankees were in the gauntlet this past week and a half. How do we think they did?
We asked for 7-5. We got 7-5. I'm actually really impressed by that.
I am too. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So download the app today. On today's show, we preview the matchup between the Yankees and the Twins, which begins tonight in Minneapolis. There's no break for the Yankees. They're flying out to the Midwest. We're going to talk about Anthony Volpe because this was a big discussion over the weekend. We didn't get to discuss it on Friday's show, but turns out he was injured most of the season. So we'll be discussing that in segment 2. But first, as we said, 7-5 in this gauntlet. They take 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox. I'm sorry, but this was huge of them to do with what's on the line, and especially where they were in Fenway, because they hadn't fared well there this season.
So with everything going on, obviously, I wanted them to win on Sunday. But if I had to count one of these games as a loss, I think the Will Warren going up against Garrett Crochet game was probably the loss you were going to get. 7-5 in this 12-game stretch. That is what I wanted. That I couldn't have asked for more. I didn't want to ask for more. They proved to not only us as a fan base, not only to us as Locked On Yankees, they proved to themselves that they can compete in the American League and they can potentially win the American League. That's how good they were in this stretch. Again, you get dominated by Crochet on Sunday, but I'm not too concerned by that. He had 12 strikeouts. He was unbelievable. They actually did get to him too. He had 3 earned runs, which is rare for him too. And weirdly enough, just to close up on Sunday's game, Judge, the big home run, Judge seems to be heating up too, by the way. The power's been there. He's starting to get in more of a hitting groove, which I'm happy to see.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to mention, Will Warren actually figured things out.
Yep.
It is worth noting. I know you see the 6 earned and you think, oh, what a terrible performance for him. It was 6 earned in the first inning, and then he closed up 5.
Right.
So he really wasn't bad in the start. It was just that first inning, and I'm glad that Boone let him get through that first inning. The bullpen was not burned in this game by any means.
Yeah. Some of them were dinky hits, some of them were lucky hits. It was just one of those innings where everything that could go wrong went wrong for Will Warren and the Yankees, but they put up a bit of a fight. Like you said, they got 3 runs off Crochet, but I would like to talk about José Caballero's home run because...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where'd that come from? Because
no idea.
He hit that far.
No idea. And we'll get into it in segment 2 because you guys are definitely going to want to hear the Volpe stuff. But I'm not advocating for a player to be injured, and I don't want Anthony Volpe to be injured. And I'm certainly not claiming that I'm happy that Anthony Volpe is injured. However, José Caballero, no matter what the circumstance is for Anthony Volpe, should be the Yankees starting second base shortstop for the rest of the year because they were not only the power, forget the power, that home run, even though it was unbelievably impressive. The plays Caballero is making in the field and the stuff he does on the base paths, he's a pest. He's annoying out there in the best way possible.
Yep.
Stacey, he is right now, in present time, a supremely better player than Anthony Volpe is. He needs to play every day. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He would be, we would loathe him if he was still on the Rays because he would be such a pain in the rear end. So let's move on to better things like Saturday's game because there are a few things that happened in that game. Can we talk about Jazz Chisholm and what he's doing this season for the Yankees? Because it's incredible.
In the last 162 game stretch for them, which is the amount of games that he's played with them, he's a 40-100 player, which is not, I don't think, what many people think of Jazz Chisholm, but hey, he's got those numbers to support himself. He's been absolutely unbelievable for them. And weirdly enough, he's had really good numbers this year. And dare I say, kind of quietly.
Yeah.
He hasn't been like this. He missed the 3 weeks in the middle of the season. And he hasn't been this guy that's no one talks about him in an MVP type caliber. He's not nationally recognized for what he's done across the league, but Stacey, 244, 30 homers, 75 RBIs, and 826 OPS. I'm sorry, like if I told you those numbers with 2 weeks left in the season at the start of the year, you would have signed for that in a heartbeat at a Jazz Chisholm. He's likely going to finish with 30 and 80.
Yeah,
I mean, in a heartbeat, you would have signed with that.
So he's going to get, I'm assuming he's going to get to 30 home runs. I don't think
he's at 29 technically right now.
Yeah, I don't think Michael Kay is going to jinx him like he jinxed Alfonso Soriano all those years ago. But speaking of Soriano, he's the last Yankee to go 30-30. He did it in 2002 and 2003. And before that was Barry Bonds way back in the 70s. So yeah, it's amazing that there have only been Bobby Bonds. Did I say Barry? Sorry, Bobby Bonds. Exactly. And I'm looking at, and I'm looking at the name too, and I'm saying Barry. Barry
Bonds, I would have loved as a Yankee.
Could you imagine Barry Bonds hitting home runs in old Yankee Stadium on the regular?
Yeah, I would like to.
I mean, it's one thing for him to do it as a visiting player, but for him to do it on the regular would have been absolutely amazing. So the other thing we need to talk about Saturday, that Cody Bellinger at bat against Chapman.
Unbelievable at bat.
My God.
One of the at bats of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, in all of Major League Baseball, not even for the Yankees. That's how good of an at bat that was. Cody Bellinger is sliding his way into a fat sum of money the Yankees are going to be forced to pay him over the offseason.
Yeah.
He's going to get paid. And you know what? There are many, many athletes, and it's a common phrase nowadays in the offseason where an athlete gets paid and people come out there with he doesn't deserve these. These guys make too money, yada, yada, name the excuse. Cody Bellinger deserves every penny he's going to get. What is the thing that he does poorly out there?
Right. Like occasionally he'll muff up a play, but like every outfielder occasionally muffs up a play. But overall, he's solid defensively. He could play in any position. He plays in any position that Boone puts him in. Left field, center field, right field, even first base once.
Tremendous player.
He's unbelievable. But that at bat, 9 pitches against Aroldis Chapman, who's been unbelievable this season. Mm-hmm. And the thing I liked about Saturday's game is they were able to win the game by getting timely hits and not relying on the home run.
At all. Plus the pitching on Saturday's game. And that to me is where you get a lot of confidence out of this stretch. Max Fried gives you 5 1/3, 9 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. ERA is now down to 3.03. But listen to the stretch they went on afterwards. And this is the formula for a postseason win, if I could say. Weaver, Williams, Cruz, Bednar.
Yep.
You don't usually see Cruz come in that late, but I guess that was his lane in the spot. Only the 1 run on the home run from Cruz. Other than that, the Yankee bullpen was outrageously, great in this spot. Max Fried was great in this spot. It was exactly how they plan on winning a game in the postseason. And to see that level right through, and I'll tell you this, whether we like it or not, whether Brian and Stacey say it or not, they are going to try to win with Devin Williams in the postseason. They have determined that they are only going to go as far as Devin Williams allows them to. They're not going to sit him. They're trying to get him right in these last 2 weeks. So, you know, as Yankee fans, we kind of have to sit here and hope they get him right.
I just think that it's better for him to be in the 7th or the 8th. Never put him in the 9th. I feel like there's less pressure.
No.
Yeah, there's less pressure there. Like I feel like there should be a formula like there was all those years ago when they had the bullpen. You knew who was coming out for each inning pretty much, and it was automatic, because I think Bednar has to close all the time.
Yes. And I think he's perfect for the postseason. I have no concern with Bednar in the postseason.
Yeah.
He's perfect for postseason
Weaver's
starts.
looking more like himself.
Absolutely. And Cruz, they trust him, and he's a strikeout machine. If that sinker is a change-up sinker, whatever you want to call it, if that is working, Cruz is the guy in absolutely 1,000% late in games. He is more of a lane guy, though. They want to use him where they think they can slide him in perfectly. So it's a different. He's not tied to an inning, I don't think.
Exactly. I would agree with that. I think there are certain guys who are tied to certain innings, but I think Cruz is one of those guys who you could decide, like, oh, all right, let me bring him in here. Like, even if the starter leaves, you could bring him in, because did they do that? Which game?
That's the role. That's the role that Jonathan Loizaga's performed for them over years past. And I think now it's going to be Cruz they want to use. Just Friday's game really quickly. Judge gets the home run that passes DiMaggio on the list. And Luis Gil, great start for Luis Gil in this game. Gives you 6 innings. And then again, the bullpen.
He was all over the place, though. Let's. I mean, yes, 6 hitless innings, but 4 walks, the 4 strikeouts, the 2 wild pitches, a balk. Like it was kind of like, ugh, like at any second.
But very quietly here, a 2.83 ERA.
Yeah, right.
You don't realize it doesn't feel like he's been as dominant and in control as he was last year, but very quietly, ERA under 3. He's been good.
Yeah, because I saw a headline when I was looking for numbers for segment 3 for everyone's ERAs and records because they put the probables in. I saw a headline about Warren and the playoffs and how this start makes it kind of iffy for him. Warren's not making a playoff start. If things go the way they're supposed to go, Fried, Rodon, Gil, those are the 3.
Tricky.
Not that order. Not that order.
No,
I'm saying those 3.
I'm not arguing the order. I think there's a case for Schlittler.
Oh yeah, Schlittler is also there. But Warren is what I'm saying is Warren is the odd man out. He's not 100%. Getting a playoff start at all. He's not getting a playoff start.
He's making the roster.
Yes.
Because he's a long relief guy if the game gets out of hand.
Yes.
But he's not getting a start. I agree with you.
No.
If Schlittler pitches great in these last 2 weeks, here's the thing. If it's a wild card series,
they would pick Gil over Schlittler just for the experience factor.
I don't know if I agree with that though. I think
they would. I'm saying they would, not I would.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you on that notion, but that's a really interesting point you make because I'm not talking overall as a pitcher, but this year I think Schlittler's stuff has played better,
right,
for a postseason start. I agree with you. I think they would go with Gil, but I would want Schlittler to get a start. It's going to be very fascinating, especially if it's a wild card series, because I don't know what they do. Like, do you save Fried for game 3 if there's a game 3? Do you pitch him in game 1 and try? It's a very, very tricky spot they're in because I don't know if I trust Luis Gil in a do or die game 3 if there is.
Yeah, right.
It's wild.
At least we don't have to worry about that for another couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm still hoping for the division. I don't want him to play the Red Sox.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. We have the link in the description. You get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. You get top priority on Fan Mail Friday. We send out lineups during the season, roster moves, and any breaking news so you don't have to check social media. And there's a new added perk. We have a private Discord where you can commiserate with your fellow Yankee fans during games. There's a 14-day free trial. All right, coming up, we have to discuss the Anthony Volpe injury, which we knew about when it happened, but we didn't know it was still affecting him. So we're going to tell you our thoughts about that next.
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with this can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Now, I love using FanDuel because it fits however I like to bet. Player props, I build same-game parlays on there, or I even just like jumping in when the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting. Whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup, it's also quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. It's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And Locked On Yankees is also brought to you by Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes. It's all in less than 60 seconds. Prize Picks is quick, easy, and honestly my favorite way to follow along with football. This week has a lot of max discounts. That includes Patrick Mahomes over half passing yards. Want to get in on that for sure. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code ONEWORD at LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code ONEWORD at LOCKEDONMLB, $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
So as I mentioned, we have a fun day of the week called Fan Mail Friday. If you're new to the show, we answer your questions to the best of our ability. The insiders get top priority. But if you're watching us on YouTube, we have a way for you to send us questions. So if you go to our channel's page and you click on the post tab, you will see the latest post where I tell you, leave your Fan Mail Friday questions here. The deadline is Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So get those in.
Stacey, unbelievably interesting topic that we have to get into. It became a storyline towards the end of last week, and you have basic photographic memory when it comes to this incident earlier on in the season.
I do.
When it occurred. Lead us through that path first, and then we'll break down what this means now.
Okay, so if you guys recall, the Yankees were playing at home. I believe it was against the Rays. It was in mid-May, and Anthony Volpe was diving for a ball, like back off the infield, and he landed on his left shoulder. And you heard him yell, and he was on the ground for a while. And I remember everyone watching the game thinking, oh man, this is bad, because he wasn't getting up right away. And then he continued to play. And then you thought, oh, all right, maybe it was just like a stinger. Because sometimes that happens, like you hit yourself in a. Well, it turns out he has a partially torn labrum, and he's been playing with it all season. So all year long, from mid-May to mid-September, but really starting in July, August, everyone has been trashing Volpe. From talk radio, right? Reddit, us, no offense.
Yeah.
But everyone else covering the Yankees, John Boy's talked about, everyone who covers the Yankees has been talking about this. And here's my question. Why would the Yankees allow this to happen? Why would they allow? Because they know that we're all talking about this and we're constantly trashing Volpe. He's getting booed in the stadium. Why wouldn't you tell people that he's injured? Because that would make us a little more sympathetic, and also wonder, why didn't you do anything about this injury and at least sit him for a couple of weeks so he could heal if he needs to?
There's multiple angles to this that I'm curious of. So if he's actually hurt and hampered by this all season, like you said, why would you not make it public to give him forget what we're all saying and what podcasts and ESPN and name different company here. Forget what they're all saying. Why wouldn't you say it to protect Anthony Volpe?
Right.
With how bad that he's played all year, give him that little societal crutch out there so he can, figure things out on his own and have that little bit of a backbone to rely on, that, hey, I'm hurt all year. This is why I'm playing like this.
Right.
Or they are choosing to release this news right now because of the season that he's had, and they're using it to preserve his career a little bit.
Right. This is the reason. He's not this bad. He's been playing on a partially torn labrum. He didn't fall off this much. There's a reason behind the bad defense, the bad batting. Now, but here's another thing, though, quickly. No wonder his dad had a hissy fit at Citi Field.
Yep. I would like to know the percentage, and we'll figure this out, the percentage of errors that he's committed this year, which are throwing errors. Like not being able to get to a ball or fielding improperly, throwing the ball offline and the first baseman having to make a miraculous play, because that seems like a very large percentage of the things that he's had, and a torn labrum could absolutely affect the way you're throwing strength.
I could have sworn it was his left arm. Is it his right arm? Because he throws with his right arm.
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was this arm that he landed on wrong, though.
Well, and I think it was the left too, and that's why I'm a little skeptical on this story, and that's why I'm a little skeptical on them releasing it right now. Because if it's the throwing arm, I kind of want to give him a pass for the fielding. Not for the hitting, but for the fielding. But if it's not that, this seems like this story is conveniently coming out at a time where they finally realized we can't play him going forward. Because not because of the labrum, because it's not good enough. We can't keep playing him going forward. We have a better shortstop on our roster, but we also want to preserve Volpe's career with the Yankees. We want to give him a chance next year. That's what this feels like. Because if you're going forward with Caballero full time, right, and he's gonna be your shortstop in the postseason. If you're settling on that, and you already made the move to pick up Amed Rosario, and he's gonna play as your backup infielder utility man going forward, then you know what, Stacey? send Anthony Volpe to surgery or to rehab immediately and call him done for the season at this point. Right. Why are we releasing this news, sitting him in 4 straight games, and then kind of letting this news slide out there like, oh, by the way, partially torn labrum throughout the year? It's very, very convenient timing for this to come out now. It's weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And Caballero held his own in this series. So yes. I don't know if there's much of a reason, and this kind of feels like an acknowledgement of them saying, hey, we can't play Anthony going forward.
Right.
And he's been that bad.
What is with this team with the injuries?
I don't want this to become a entire winter where we talk about, oh, well, it feels like they're giving him this crutch to go throughout the entire offseason for them to either not go out there and get a shortstop. Because we already had that episode where we sat there and said, I don't know if his career is over, but they have to go get a viable shortstop in the offseason and make it at bare minimum a competition going forward. And this feels like they're not planning on doing that. So this news is coming out now saying, whoa. Volpe had a partially torn labrum. That's where and I don't want to sit here and give him that because Stacey, the season was terrible. And if he's that hurt where he's performing like this, he shouldn't have been playing.
No. They should have sat him in June at this
point.
Because it happened May 13th, I believe was the exact date. And he's been awful since then. Like he had the hot start and he was having the ebb and like the highs and the lows that he normally has. But then he just went off a cliff.
And he had a good 2-week stretch after the All-Star break. And then since then he's been like it's been one of the worst stretches in Major League history for a full-time player.
Do we know
was he hurt or not?
Do we know if the shot that he had on September 10th was the first one that he had? The cortisone shot?
They didn't announce that. No.
Because is it possible that he got one during the All-Star break and maybe that made him feel better?
Again, but why hide that?
Right.
Why leave that out of public knowledge? It's not like no one's asked about Anthony Volpe's performances either.
This is the thing. Why are they so secretive about everything? Just let us know. You had other people you could have played in his place. Even when he got injured in May, that was before Oswaldo Cabrera got hurt. Yep. You could have switched people around, and it's ridiculous.
The secretiveness here makes so little sense though, because you actually had a built-in crutch to protect the player, and you chose not to until September. Until there's 2 weeks left in the season. Now we're going to protect Volpe.
Right.
Like, you could have protected him in June, July, August. You had plenty of opportunities to do that. You chose till now. That's where it's a little weird to me. To me, the timing seems awfully convenient. That we wait till the end of the season gets here where you finally have determined as an organization, hey, going into, by the way, a really important series against Boston in Fenway Park where you don't win. You decide that you determine that Volpe can't play in this series, and not can't play because he's hurt. You pretty much said he can't play because he's not good enough. Like Caballero was starting because Volpe, he didn't hit the IL. Volpe didn't hit the IL, and you could retroact his IL stint back to last Thursday or last Wednesday actually. So he didn't hit the IL. So you're not telling me that he's too hurt and he can't play. You're telling me that he's good to play. So if you're telling me he's good to play, what you're saying is he's just not good enough right now to be playing against Boston in a very important series. So is he hurt or is he not hurt?
Yeah.
I don't like that as an organization.
Right. It's just everything is very silly. I don't understand what's going on. And Caballero did what he needed to do in the series over the weekend, had big defensive plays. He made things happen on the bases, had a couple of big hits.
The play he made it was the 8th or the 9th inning against the Red Sox on Sunday.
Because there was no bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah, good point. There is no chance, hope, and prayer that Anthony Volpe makes that play.
No.
And I texted you that. There's not a world this season where Volpe makes that play.
No. It was an amazing play. He's making the most out of his playing time, so that's all the Yankees want. All right, well, coming up, we're going to preview the series with the Twins. We got all the pitching matchups because they released the probables just before we started recording. So thank you guys for that. And we'll tell you about some news around the league and some news from Mexico next.
You've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. And that's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just the hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. The best part? It's easy. You take 4 pills with a meal and no prescription is needed. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On Yankees and MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code, one word, Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code, one word, Locked On MLB. And guys, not only do we cover your team every single day, but now we're giving you instant episodes after every single game. Check out the Locked On Yankees postcast. It's hosted by Jay Berman, and it appears right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. It also streams on our YouTube channel. Get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. Stacey, big series against the Minnesota Twins. Statistically, through the remainder of the season, each team has 4 games left in their 4 series left in their season. I'm sorry. And the Yankees have statistically the easiest schedule remaining in all of baseball. That is to be noted. They currently sit 3.5 games behind the Toronto Blue Jays for the American League East title. I'll tell you, it's in reach.
Sure.
It is. I mean, 3.5 games is not crazy. With the teams the Yankees play on the way out, there's a legitimate chance here. It's I believe, Twins, 2 against the Orioles and the White Sox. Very winnable. Very winnable.
Yeah.
Monday, 7:40 p.m. start for the Yankees in Minnesota. Carlos Rodon gets the start. He's 16-8 with a 3.11 ERA. Goes up against Simeon Woods Richardson, who's 6-4 with a 4.58 ERA on the season. Big series for the Yankees against Minnesota, who they often beat up on. You have to keep that going. You have to keep that going.
They're no offense to some of the guys who are on the team, but Minnesota is mostly a quad A team because of all the guys they traded away. And there's no excuse for the Yankees not to win this series.
100%. Tuesday's game will be a 7:40 start as well. Cam Schlittler, who I believe is making his audition in the next couple of starts for the postseason rotation. 3-3 with a 3.05 ERA in 56 innings pitched this year, has 63 strikeouts, which is exactly what the Yankees are looking for. He will go up against Zebby Matthews, 4-5 with a 5.06 ERA. Speaking of which, I did want to mention too for Monday's game, Carlos Rodon. I wanted to check out where he is on the strikeout meter. If he has got the chance of hitting that 200 strikeout marker. Give me 1 second here while I find the Yankees pitching. 1 second. Carlos Rodon. He is currently at 186 strikeouts. Probably has 3 starts remaining. You get there?
I think so. I think you can get there.
Yeah, good chance. I'd like that for Carlos Rodon. I'm rooting for all of the metrics and success of Carlos Rodon possible. I know he's a grown man and older than me, but I am unbelievably proud of Carlos Rodon this season. He has had an unbelievable year for the Yankees and pitched really well for them.
Yes, he has. And I had predicted last year, my bold prediction was that he was going to win 17 games. He only won 16, but I was close. So this year he can get to 17 and possibly 18 if he pitches well enough.
Yeah, definitely. And then Wednesday start will be a 7:40 as well. Luis Gil on the mound, 4-1 with a 2.83 ERA. Impressive how good he's been. You don't even realize. He's going up against Taj Bradley, who's 6-7 with a 4.88 ERA. Stacey, I did want to get to some news around all of baseball because there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on in throughout the entire league. The playoff chases have gotten out of control. It is so crazy how there's now 5 teams chasing that final NL wildcard spot. The St. Louis Cardinals have brought themselves back into it somehow, some way. They're only 4 games out of it. The Rays have fallen out of it in the American League after dragging themselves back in. The Mariners are now in first place in that division in the West. The Astros have fallen to the wild card, and they could very easily fall out of the wild card as a total because they play the Rangers this week, who are now 2 games out of the wild card. It is crazy how these teams have moved around.
I love it. I'm glad the Yankees aren't involved in that.
That is that's a perfect quote on what's going on right now. Have you heard of this Blue Jays prospect who's getting called up?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have. I saw the name earlier.
One of the coolest names I've ever seen in baseball history and sports history. Trey Yesavage. That is how you pronounce his last name. Yesavage. Awesome name. The cooler part about him is he started the year in single A. And he is currently, he went, and he didn't skip any levels. He went from single A to high A to double A to triple A to the major leagues all in one year. It's crazy. In March, he was in single A. So Trey Savage, he's going to make his debut starting for the Blue Jays on Monday. Incredible stuff to see. I know you won't like this, but it did happen.
I know, I saw.
Cal Raleigh hit his 54th home run of the year. He tied Mickey Mantle for most home runs in his season by a switch hitter. Full disclosure, it is unbelievably impressive that he's a catcher and did this. Like, I mean, Mickey Mantle, I know that record held for so long, but he's a center fielder, or a right fielder at times too. I mean, Cal Raleigh hitting his 54th.
I would just like to point out to one of the Locked On Mariners hosts, Ty, who pointed out that Oswald Peraza would not have hit the home run on Sunday if the balls weren't juiced. What about Cal Raleigh beating his previous high by 20 home runs? Is that because the ball's juiced, Ty? Just want to say that.
Certainly interesting on your part there. I know where you lean, but truthfully, who is your AL MVP right now?
Judge. His WAR is higher. He has a better batting average. He's number one in nearly every category except for home runs. So it's Judge.
I agree with you. I will say this. I think that Cal Raleigh would have won it if he broke Judge's home run record in the season.
Hopefully,
but
he's
won't. He's not gonna get there. I mean, he'd have to go mental in the last 2 months, in the last 2 weeks. I mean, you have to go crazy. Yeah, but odds are he's not hitting that. That's the only chance he had.
Okay, we quickly have to get through this stuff. So the Mets walked off. This was amazing, actually, okay, because the Rangers tied the game at 2-2, and the boos rained down on the Mets like you would not believe. I mean, if they hadn't walked off the game on Sunday, they would have had a 9-game losing streak. Yep. They would have been 1-9 in their last 10. It just would have been a complete meltdown of epic proportions. So Pete Alonso hit a 3-run walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th inning to snap the losing streak and to help them in the wild card race, because the Giants didn't help themselves either, because they were tied on Friday after the Giants walked off against the Dodgers, but then the Giants decided not to show up against the Dodgers in the last 2 games of the series. So the Mets helped themselves with that walk-off. Robinson Cano, 4,000th professional hit on Saturday night in Mexico. It was a single. I watched it on YouTube. They had a live stream. So we put it up on the TV, and my mom even watched it. She's like, oh, wow, look at Robinson Cano. He's a little hefty. I'm like, Mom, he's turning 43 in November. So yes, he's a little hefty. He's a little heftier than he was when he was a Yankee. And scary things for the Tigers on Friday, but it seems Scooble's okay.
Oh, geez. I mean, the Friday start, he left with left arm tightness, which the whole area of Detroit was freaking out.
Yeah.
They've got a 6.5 claim in the other division. They're not playing well, Detroit, and they can get picked early in the playoffs. They don't.
Well, I mean, except against the Yankees when they were beating up in the Yankees bullpen.
But that's the only team they played well against.
Right.
Crazy.
Right. All right. All right, well, thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night every game, every night until the World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this Monday edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.